In 1939, Paul Strnad writes this letter to his cousin Alvin. And in the letter he says, "My wife is a very talented dressmaker, and I'm sending you these designs so you can show a manufacturer."
In 1997, Brigitte Strnad came into the office and he said, "I've got something here that I think the archives should have." It was one photo, one letter, and one packet of dress designs.
And this began a process of trying to piece together this story.
When my grandmother died, my parents had to go to her house to clean it out. And while they were cleaning out her house, they stumbled upon this large red envelope, and it said that it was inspected by the Third Reich. And chills just went up my parents' spine. They opened the envelope, and they found inside of it a letter from my cousin Paul. And in it, Paul was describing that the Germans had just invaded Czechoslovakia, that they lost their jobs, and that they had much need to get out of the country. He was talking a lot about his wife and what a phenomenal dress designer she was, and how she was very well regarded in Prague, and that he was enclosing copies of her dresses so that he could take them to show people to help her find a job in Milwaukee.
It was a plea for help to get affidavits to get out of Czechoslovakia because of the Nazi invasion.
So we started, looking up Paul Strnad, because that was the one name we did have. And we looked in the Yad Vashem names database and found Paul Strnad.
The museum engaged historians from around the world to research the family and what happened.
And then we found one page of testimony that referred for each of the family members from a niece.
At the end of 1944, she was still in Theresienstadt, and Auschwitz was liberated in February 1945. So it was just a matter of a few months, which was too late.
We know that Alvin, despite his best efforts, was not able to get them visas to come here, and we know that they both died. And that's the crux of this story. But looking at these two people, their lives and their talents, is a way of then doing the work of building all of these different people's lives and talents.
I think when all of us started the project, we didn't imagine just how big it would grow, and it seems like each day brought a new discovery.
A visitor came in. She said to us, "Gee, there's a lot of stuff you could do with those dress designs."
We're like, "They're on display in a museum, isn't that enough?" She said, "You can make them."
The Milwaukee Repertory Theater was doing a program for us on Anne Frank. They introduced a new staff person, and it was the head of the costume department. I said, "Oh boy." So I walked over to this woman, I said, "Here's what we want to do." I showed her the pictures, and I said, "Can you folks do that?" And she said, "Absolutely."
To work from these sketches where they were two-dimensional, there was no indication of what the fabrics were, what the patterning was. Is this ruching? Are these pleats? What are the materials used? All of that had to be determined by the Milwaukee Repertory Theater's costume shop.
And they took each of these pieces and really did this art of interpretation with them. And then, made these kind of interpretive decisions based on the research. And then constructing them and molding the hats so that they're perfectly fitted and dyeing the shoes to match. So the things that you will never see in this exhibit, things like the insides of the dresses are lined in a way that Hedwig would have lined things.
You can see the result. It more than meets our expectations.
It's like you've stepped into the picture. It's a testament to the skill that the team from the Milwaukee Rep brought to it, but also it's a testament to Hedwig's design style, that these are dresses that are timeless.
It's an honor to have these pieces in our collection. Hopefully something that Hedwig and Paul would have been very proud of too, and that's something that's very important to us.
The dresses symbolize a family's attempt for survival. They represent the story of families on two continents that were separated because of the Holocaust.
It's really the story of the incalculable loss of everything that was never allowed to be brought to fruition, with everything that was lost in the Holocaust.
What about all the other people who died, Jews and non-Jews, artists, writers, scientists, doctors. If we think about lost talent, every life that's lost, we're losing contributions to the world. Hetty's designs are just wonderful examples. She represents it because we happen to have this.
The Strnad pieces were in the house in Milwaukee, just waiting for someone to notice them. And if someone at some point had just thrown out a box without looking through it, that's the end of this story.
You never know what treasures you're going to find, and you never know what the significance of those treasures are going to be. So we've given current and future generations something to take ownership of in moving forward, in making sure that the lives and dreams of all of these individuals continue to be a part of who we are and our history, and continue to pass that from generation to generation.